Welcome to Monarch Park Collective. Okay, here's our next piece of furniture that's up in the queue. It's a glass hutch. It's got a drawer and a cabinet door on the bottom. Let's take a close look at some of the problems with it. First thing I want to deal with is this rub. It's hitting at the bottom. I think I know why. These hinges are not quite right. There's some play in that one. You can see that on camera. Another issue with this is it's rubbing on the door. Rubbing right there. So I think I mentioned in previous videos, I like to get these drawers and doors to work first. We got play, and that hinge right there is completely loose. Tighten this hinge up. Tighten this hinge up. That'll be a start. See if I can get the rub to quit. Other than that, somebody etched their initials or something in it. There's some more artwork right here. That was nice of them to help me out. Drawers are pretty scratched up, or I should say shelves are pretty scratched up. A couple gnarly holes in the back. I'm assuming that's where it was screwed to a wall. Typical kind of dings and nicks. Finish is a little goofed up. Chipped veneer at the bottom. You can see there's some movement in that hinge. Well, that's bad news, I think. Looks like those screws broke off in the hole. Definitely. You can feel the remainder of them in there. That's a bad situation. And we're not worried about over drilling these holes because I'm just going to fill them. Okay, I'm just trying to tighten these up, but that top one's spinning in the hole. I suspect this one will do the same thing. Yes, and so that'll work short term, but not long term. So let's get these out of here and do the same thing. All right, while the glue dries in the holes where the hinges go, let's get this hardware off. I use it because it's simple and green. The backstory of this piece of furniture is my wife and I had turned in for the evening, and we were kind of browsing for furniture on our phones. I was looking for furniture on Craigslist, and my wife was looking for furniture on Facebook Marketplace. And while we were looking, she saw a curb alert for this piece of furniture, and it had just been posted like 10 or 15 minutes prior. So after a little bit of persuasion, I was able to jump in the car and run about 20 minutes north to get this piece of furniture. And I loaded it up, and I'm sure I'm glad I did, because this turned out to be one of the more beautiful pieces we've done. Okay, we're going to re-drill these holes. If you have a self-centering bit, that's the ideal tool to use in this situation. It'll find the dead center of that existing hinge hole. After tightening those hinges, it did not help the rub here. Still getting this rub right here, but it did eliminate this one. No longer rubbing down here. So good with that one. I'm going to take the rest of this cabinet apart and deal with that another way. Here I'm just using this detail scraper to get where the sander couldn't reach. I want to take the back of this hutch loose if I can without damaging it. I'm going to use a block of wood and just tap it. That hopefully is going to release the nails. I can just pull the nails out along the perimeter of this panel. I haven't really talked much about my goal for this piece of furniture. I'm gonna put a coat of seal coat on it because if I decide that I like the look of that finish, I'll keep it. If I don't like it, it doesn't hurt because I put a coat of seal coat on it regardless. And if the pieces all look similar to each other, then I may just leave it that way because I like the idea of leaving this light colored. If not, I may just tone one part, or if I really don't like the whole look, I may just tone the whole thing and even the color out. So I'm going to seal coat this and decide later how to proceed. Everything's been hit with a coat of de-wax shellac, and as you can see, I've staged the shelf and the back here. I can live with the sides. I may tone them a little bit. They match pretty closely to the back. The shelf, the bottom part of this cabinet, and the actual shelf that sits on the shelf pegs are just too far off from the back. So this piece and this piece are for sure going to get toned. So let's do that next. Okay, before I tone this, I need to mask the glass. I'm just going to cover this glass well, so I'm just going to run this tape over onto the glass stop. And here it is after toning. It's not perfect, but it's much closer in tone throughout the case and this back panel. And I think once it's assembled and put back together, it'll look really nice. Before priming the piece of furniture, I had to mask the glass, and I chose to use liquid masking on this project. This is a really great product. You basically just paint it on. You can spray it on, you can brush it on, you can roll it on. It acts as a primer against the surface that you're working. So for instance, if you were to get some of this over onto the wood, that'd be perfectly fine because it just acts as a primer, but it will not bond to glass. So here's a quick time lapse of it drying out. It took, in real time, this was probably about 15 minutes. It dries basically completely clear. You can kind of see through it, and it kind of looks rippled. They suggest that you put 2 coats on, and here you can see through the glass. It's already kind of rippled looking, and I'm putting a second coat on. It just ensures good coverage, and so you don't have little breaks in it that paint can get on later. And here I'm replacing the back panel before I prime the cabinet. I'm going to remove this masking film now. It's very simple. You just score along the perimeter of the glass. You do not have to score it too deep because it will break where you score it. And I'll usually penetrate the film just somewhere in the middle. Being careful not to scratch the glass. And once you have a little spot, it's that simple. Now it's time for assembly. I install the lower door, and I install the upper door, and I also install the hardware. But before I do, I decided to color it gold with this product called Rub and Buff. It's a mica-based and oil-based product. You just kind of paint it on, and it dries really quick, like in 10 or 15 minutes. I'm going to apply some furniture paste wax with some 4/0 steel wool. That'll smooth this finish out. You just apply a little to your steel wool, and that'll go pretty far. We'll start on the edge panel here. Give that paste wax about 10 minutes, and then you can buff it. Let's take a look back at this piece of furniture before we started the restoration on it. It's a solid piece of furniture that was just a bit dated and not very well taken care of. And after a couple of days of work, this is the final result. If you're getting any value out of this content, please consider liking and subscribing, and also drop me a comment. Thanks for watching.